we can go to the next presenter. And I'll introduce is Asako Okamura. She's a senior research fellow at Center for S&T Foresight and Indicators at the National Institute of Science and Technology Policy, the Ministry of Education, Culture, Sports, Science and Technology in Japan since December 2020. Her professional experience includes the National Graduate Institute for Policy Studies as a Science, Technology and Innovation policy specialist from December 2015 to November 2020, and the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development as analyst on indicators and impact of science and research from February 2013 to November 2015. So the floor is yours, Asako. I'm passing you.
Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and midnight persons. Thank you very much for the introduction. And so, okay, I think I will share the slide. Okay. Do you see my slides?
Yes.
Okay. Just a moment. Okay. And this one. Is it fine?
Yes, it's full screen.
It's full screen. Okay. So today I will talk about my project on like vision-driven indicators to enhance interaction between science and society. But this is not my the work at the NICET, but this work was I was conducting with my previous occupation, like university.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I think I'm seeing your notes screen.
Really? Okay, thank you. So I think I this way.
Yeah.
Fine?
Yeah.
Okay, that's
perfect.
better. Okay, thank you very much. That was I was worrying about that. Okay, anyway, thank you very much. So okay, so here's my some background of my study, and so I just read through about the science and technology innovation has a really great influence and impact on our lives and decision making in a variety of areas in many, many ways, like such as adoption of emerging technology into daily life. There may be a risk and also there may be the benefits, but sometimes we don't know the benefits and risks very explicitly, such as in the areas like AI and jobs and robots. And also we have some issues in trust in science and experts. And well, these are just some examples, but there are many, many like issues between science and society. And we think the cultural elements like values and habits and morals are really playing a major role in the creation and adoption and diffusion of STI. So in considering ongoing transformative STI changes, so we need to understand and measure the cultural and societal aspects of STI. And this is very important for our daily lives and also for policy development. But we think, or I think that indicators or measurement on science and societies are very scarce. So I wanted to try to map what kind of indicators will be desirable, or what kind of the development indicators will be needed to show such things. So that is my motivation. So for indicators, why we are creating indicators and to whom we are creating indicators. So for the reason for creating indicators, firstly, we need to understand the diverse aspects of the complex relationship between science and technology innovation and society by quantitatively and also qualitatively. And also not only understanding we need the indicators to promote changes. So we need some indicators to make people act for futures and cause behavioral changes and leading to a better life or world. So we're creating the indicators for citizens and science communities and policymakers, business and media. So it's the indicators for society. That is a thing that we wanted to create at the project. So I will introduce how we created later on, but I will show you the result from now. And so we ended up making the 246 indicators. But this is just a list of the indicators. We haven't gone to measure yet, but we made a list of 246 indicators with 192 actions with 21 targets under 6 goals. I will show you some details on that later. But this is the final image of the indicator mapping. And okay, so we took a participatory approach. And so we started from 2016. We hold multiple workshops to discuss. And we also did some kind of like open discussion with policymakers and also with students. So we, in total, more than 100 people are participating in this trial to make indicator list. So the structure of the indicator is like this. So we have the visions and the goals and targets and actions. And actions are divided by the actors, like citizen and the science communities and the government and the business and the corporations and medias. And we measure in the actions by actors. So this is how we see these maps. So we have the goal, like first goal is goal A. Goal A is like understanding uncertainty and the innovative and ethical elements of STI. And students face science abuse, misuse, and deviations. So under this goal, there are multiple targets. So for example, A1 is a system is secured when experts and expertise can be fully utilized. So target is a specific specific details of the goals. So what does a goal mean in specific? So one goal has multiple targets. And then we have actors from student to media. So this is regarding how we achieve the target. Which action should be taken by which actors. And we have actions under for each actors. So indicators are trying to measure how there will be like development or for the actions. So how to measure actions is like indicators. So this is the structure of our indicator map. And so I will show you some details on each part. So regarding the visions, we discussed about the values undergoing, the value changes undergoing. And also there are like STI changes. And also there are like social visions changes. So they are interactive ways. They are changing in interactive ways. So for example, for values, we only have the Japanese participants. So many are only specific to Japanese cultures, but I think there's some elements of some common elements exist that which we can share with other part of cultures. So for values, like we talk about like we are getting more motivated for solving social issues, or we are more accepting the diversified values, and we are taking more risks, or we are taking more generous with failures. So it's the something that changes which are undergoing, but also for it's kind of like the wishes. So with the directions of changes of the values. And we also talk about like social visions. So some the visions like the society are becoming more smart and resilient, and also for flexible towards changes and accepting and utilizing diversities, and the rewarding challenges. And we also talk about like what are the ideal interactions between science and society. And first one is science and technology should be promoted in responsible way to the society. And also society or citizen should have like adaptability to transformative STI changes. So these kind of things we discussed in the multiple workshops. And we make goals, 6 goals based on these visions. So we have 6 goals. 2 of the goals are relating to how society faces STI. So first one is goal A is students understand uncertainty and ethical aspects of STI. And the second goal is students enjoy science and innovation. So these goals are some like conditions, not the condition, it's kind of the status or situation that for the desirable situation between science and society. And goal C is relating to how to reflect the opinions of students and experts in decision making. So goal C is scientific advice and students' concerns are properly handled in a policy process. And other 3 goals are kind of social infrastructures or social structures needed to achieve goal ABC. So goal 1 is no regional gaps in access to knowledge and culture. And the goal 2 is culture to boost challenges. And goal 3 is accepting diversity and people living in comfort. So this is maybe a repetition, but these goals are based on the discussion in multiple workshops regarding the visions, which I explained before. So for these goals, we have 21 targets. This may be very too much small. I will show you the whole map later on, but I just want to show you that this kind of the tree-like map. So we have the targets and the 6 goals from A1 to 3.44. Okay. So this is just a repetition of how we achieve these maps. So we started from the discussion on what's our social vision or values, especially for the changes of values or visions for the lookingly. And then we we discussed what's an ideal relationship between science and society, and what target we need to focus to achieve the goals, and what kind of actions we need to take, and who should act what. And then listing up that what kind of indicators can capture these kind of actions. So I will show you some examples. Goal A is something about the students are understanding the uncertainty and ethical aspect. As one of the target is a system is secured when experts and expertise can be fully utilized. And student, for the action of the student, one of the action is evaluating experts involved in societal contribution. So one indicator could be a number of positive evaluation of experts in social network service. And regarding goal B, goal B is about the students enjoying science and innovation culture and are active as knowledgeable players. So one of the target is being able to make easy access to knowledge and resources of science and innovation in daily life. So one actor is government. The government action is like promoting open innovation and open science efforts and providing information on the efforts. So indicator is one example of indicator is % of research funds incorporate open innovation and open science. And the other example is % of publicity funded research results. And for the goal C, it's students' expectations and concerns and scientists' advice are properly woven in policymaking process. So one of the target is mechanism students express opinions or are involved in policymaking process. So for the media, the action, one of the action is there must be some in media who have scientific knowledge. And the indicator could be a number of employees who have received advanced professional education in science. And regarding goal 1, goal 1 is no regional gap in accessing to knowledge and culture. And the target is like meeting science in having a casual contact with science in daily life. So actor is for science community action, one of the action is universities are open to students, and indicate that could be a number of university classes students can attend for the society, the number of the university classes to open for the students and society. So just to remind you, this is just one example, and we have more other types of examples. And the goal 2 is culture boosting challenges and following them up. So one of the target is having a don't fear failures or just challenge. This may be very specific to Japanese cultures, but this is one of the target. For the actor, business, and the corporation, one of the action is proactively collaborate with diverse stakeholders and industries. So in the example of indicator could be a number of projects industries carried out in collaboration with government, public, and industries. For the goal 3, which is a society that accepting diversity, allowing citizens to enjoy life. One of the targets is securing work-life balance. This is also for a very Japanese specific indicator and action, but for government, we like action is like more supervision on excessive overtime work at companies. So one of the indicator could be number of companies without excessive overtime work. So these are the examples, and I will show you the map later on, but just for this is just a concluding lesson learned and limitations. So through these discussions, we really felt that there are growing concerns about the disparities in benefits of STI in terms of like regional disparities, income disparities, and digital divide. So people are really caring about such issues. So those like issues are really reflected in the content of our indicator list. And also, we also talk about the dark side of innovation. So innovation has instability and disparity, and especially in the first phase, in the first phase, we are really observing that instability and disparity associated with innovation. But the government are really employing innovation as a policy target. Whether we need to really ask a question whether this is really can we really justify innovation as a policy target for everyone? So people are really concerning about these issues. And also, we found that the importance of participatory goal or agenda setting, but not only that, also for the indicator choosing, we need participatory ways. Because government or business, industry or any way in many ways, sorry, in many ways, people are really using the indicators for like managing their governance or business. But because the effect or impact of STI is very becoming more significant in the future, we need really, I mean, the general public also need to concern about what kind of other indicators are used in policy management, because that really affect on our daily lives. Maybe not today, but in 1 or 2 years later, people will notice that that the impact of the policy will be very significant. So I think as the more participatory way is needed for indicator building for policy development as well. Also, we have many limitations on the methodology of our project. Of course, we have involved many people as much as possible, but of course, there is a lack of diversity of participants. And also, these are not really theoretically based approach, because we based on the discussions of the participants at the workshops. So this is okay for someone who participated, but may not really have meaning to someone not participated in. And also it's very difficult to verify whether this it's very difficult to theoretically verify the approach and outputs. But anyway, I think it was a very nice trial to map various ways or various interactions of science and technology in one map. And the many issues are really discussed throughout the project, like growing concern about the disparities, inequalities, and the dark side of innovation that really people really want the innovation or not, such issues that we could discuss. So this is very it is very preliminary but exploratory approach, but I think it was a really a nice, good exercise. And I have made this paper, so you can you can connect to this paper and maybe you can read it and for further understanding. So I think I will switch to the map. So just a moment. So this is like this, and this looks very too much things. But if you zoom in, you can see there are some details. Like, okay, for example, the goal B, anyone can enjoy science and innovation culture and be active as knowledgeable players. So we have 3 targets, 3 actions, like having access to and derive enjoyment from scientific knowledge and trying to understand science and discover challenges. Children are enjoying science in their school and class, local areas. And the indicators like, for example, one is like total participation numbers at the science cafes, or like number of visitors to science museums, or such like that. So we also include some indicators which were not available at this moment, but because we want to develop the indicators, we also include like wish list for future development of indicators. So this is maybe very difficult to see it, but this exercise is, we try to be comprehensive as much as possible, and we try to incorporate many perspectives. So again, I would like to emphasize that these these are not really based on some scientifically or theoretically verified like logics or verified facts, but it's based on the discussions among participants, totally 100 people. But we at each workshop we only have like 20, 30 participants, but totally around 100 people were participated in the workshops. And I also found that some issues were very specific to Japanese cultures, but many issues I think were very common, and we can share these issues with other countries' trials. Like, for example, the disparities or like inequalities of which is science and technology and innovation may associate with some or may enhance the disparities or inequalities. The people are really caring about the futures. So we need to really, how to say, visualize these kinds of concerns and also for the actual situations, and to understand whether these are real or not real. So for such kind of discussion, I think this mapping could be used and useful. I have another mapping, very looks very similar way, but okay, I will show you another map. Do you see my map? So this is a map of like science of science and innovation policy questions. Because in my previous occupation, I used to work for a university at GRIPS, which is a National Research Graduate Institute for Policy Studies, and they have a program on science and policy studies, and they have like a consortium with other universities program on science and innovation policy, and they wanted to create a kind of textbook, which is we call it a core content of science and innovation policy. And for developing the content, I used the similar mind map like mapping. And this one has, because I have sometimes more times left, but so this one has like I think it's four or five chapters, but it's starting from meta questions of science of science and innovation policy. It's like, what is modern science? What is evidence? What is science and policy? And such kind of like starting from meta questions, such kind of these ones. And the first chapter is covering science, technology, innovation dynamics. It's kind of what is innovation, how innovation occurs, and what resources relating to innovation, and what kind of knowledge and value are deployed, and what are the factors that inhibit innovation, and how does it spread and it's accepted, and also like innovation as a system, and innovation in global environment, and like any the social and the cultural basis to cause innovations. And the second chapter is about like science, technology, innovation, governance, and policy formulation process. So it's about covering what is a STI policy. So what is a legitimacy of a policy, and what are the policy tools, and who take actions, who are the stakeholders of STI policies, and also what process does the STI policy go through, and also what are the risk management and governance of STI, and also scientific and expert advice, and also the relationship with value judgment and legitimacy, and also policies and research, how policy and the research are co-evolving. So this is the very important topic for modern policy making, the co-evolution, like and of policy and science. And the third one is like STI and society, which has more related to the topic which I presented today. The first one is what society, sorry, this is very small. I need to make it larger, but what society expects for science and technology. I cannot go further. Enlargement. And how to nurture science and technology policy literacy and citizen participation in science and technology, and how researchers are trusted, and how to cope with science, technology, innovation risks. The fourth one is like a socio-economic impact assessment. And the first one is like how we measure the effect of science, technology, innovation policy. And the second one is methodologies and data to be used. And the third one is like effect of STI policy. And the fourth one is STI policy evaluation issues. So these items are used for developing content of one kind of like a textbook which we developed STI regarding STI policy, and which some of the topics are used in chapters which we developed and which are available online now. So because this event is something about mapping exercises, and maybe other presentations are different from mine, because mine is more based on the discussions of participants at the workshops. We held a workshop for developing this as well. So it's really how can I say, it's not a map based on the data or computing, but it's based on the discussions or like more people's ideas and thinkings. So I think it's one way of using map is to show the ideas and discussions and thinkings. And so I think these exercises are also the examples for such use cases. So so people are okay, I have a question from Yunwei Chen.
Yes. Mhm.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I didn't notice it. I just noticed now. So it is interesting work. What is the attitude of policymakers towards research? Yes, this is very one of the key question because the objective of the indicator is, of course, for involving policymakers, and in our approach as well. In our approach, we involve some government officials in indicator setting, but which is not really like wide range. We involved a few, like 3, 4, 5 policymakers, which has we were able to involve the policymakers who already had very high interest in these topics. So that we can do, but we were not able to really involve whole range of policymakers because for policymakers, there are many or majority of policymakers are not really interested in these topics. Now, I think is the people, more policymakers are interested in these topics, but back in 2016, the interest was less among policymakers. So some policymakers who already had high interest in science and society topics, they really liked this project, but not for everyone, of course. The first reason is they were not really interested in these science and society topics, but also maybe they need more prioritized list because we have too many, like 246 indicators. It's very difficult to digest first. And so that's why we need more better approach. But in first place, there are not so many policymakers who liked these topics. But and the secondary, the policymakers needs more easy and how they say, more compact information. So that way we need more efforts. But and yes, so that's a very mixed reactions. Sorry. I don't know whether these there will be there is some like differences among countries, but that's that reaction.
Thank you, Asaka, for a great presentation.